Hi, Joe Bolte, PFR operator, herbicide specialist with Beck's Hybrids at our Southern Illinois location. Today I'm staying out here in Effingham, Illinois, and it's our first true taste of spring here. We got 70 degrees. This spring it's been a little bit different. We've had cool, wet conditions. We've had a couple snowfalls in the past 2 weeks, so our planter's been sitting in the shed, and we're looking at the forecast. It's still going to be sitting there in the next week or so as well. So as we get into a delayed planting scenario, well, what does this change when it comes to our corn? Well, it changes a lot of things, but today I want to focus on herbicides. Well, we're staying out on a herbicide study currently where we got fall treatments on this side and no fall treatments on this side, so you can see a little bit more winter annual pressure. And that's the thing when we get delayed planting, is it changes our weed spectrum. Well, what do you mean it changes the weed spectrum? Well, typically if we can get out and get our corn planted early, we're typically only worried about winter annuals. And if we had a fall herbicide put down, well, we may not have a lot of pressure. But if planting is delayed, well, now we start to get some of our summer annuals emerging. One of the first signs of spring is the emergence of giant ragweed. But if we get delayed planting, we get a little bit warmer conditions, it's too wet to get out, maybe we can't get the sprayer out to do our burn down. Well, now we're going to have to start dealing with some pigweeds, especially since we don't have any residual value out there, or at that point our residual from our fall has worn off. As our weed spectrum shifts, we may have to go do a burn down before our tillage pass. Depending on the tillage pass you run, or type of tillage, you may have to do the burn down beforehand. For us, we run vertical tillage, so if our weeds start to get some growth to them, we'll go out and do our burn down beforehand before we do our tillage pass. Now, what does that do for the weed size? Well, as our weeds get bigger, that's going to affect our tillage pass. That could affect our contact herbicides or spray volume that we're going to run as well. Also, for the weed spectrum too, as our planting is delayed and we stay cool and wet, other weeds like mare's tail. Mare's tail is one of the winter annuals that can emerge almost about, roughly research has shown, about 9 months out of the year if the conditions are right with moisture and temperature. Some other things to keep in mind as we get into delayed planting is as our winter annuals sit out there, like on this side, this is creating a place for the cutworm moths to come in, lay their eggs, and then when we finally do get our corn planted, that could be a pest that we have to deal with. So in summary, some things to keep in mind, especially if our planting continues to be delayed, is number one, think about your weed spectrum. Typically, if you planted early, you only dealt with winter annuals, well, now your weeds are going to be shifting. Maybe to giant ragweed if you have giant ragweed pressure. If you don't have giant ragweed, as we start to get warmer, the moisture's there, planting is delayed, well, now we're going to have to start thinking about pigweeds, water hemp, as well as, if we stay cool, some mare's tail. So be thinking about some products that you can maybe throw in with your residual to get some burn down activity as well. If the weeds get larger, maybe you're running some vertical tillage and they're getting too big, go in with the burn down beforehand. Also, as soon as possible, try to get some of the winter annuals cleaned up, so that way you don't have a place for the cutworm moths to lay their eggs and cutworms to deal with as the corn gets planted. Like or subscribe below using hashtag AskPFR. Thank you for watching.